Good evening to everyone around the world. Thank you again for joining us here in another episode of The Elephant in the Room. This is another football centric episode. I know it's maybe two or three in a row now, but I think it's very prevalent because it's a football year. We have the World Cup coming up. There's a lot of Premier League games, very exciting games. We have the Champions League semi-finals coming up. So I think it's very prevalent and pertinent to have these kind of discussions now. I just have a local take on it. Joining me today again is SP and Fraka, and we're just going to get into a lot of things to talk about. We have, World Cup coming up. We have the Champions League semi-finals, like we said. We have a title race in the English Premier League heating up. So we want to get into it and just like look at it from an analytical standpoint, but also these guys are full of experience, have played at high levels, know what it's like to compete, and we want to get their takes on these as well. So without further ado, you know my guests, so I don't think we need to go into too much and introduce them, but I just want to get into and picking their brains right away, just asking them, especially SP. So I'll say good evening to both of them, but also SP, just as we look into this title race right now with Arsenal. It's their fourth year kind of challenging for this title. Maybe a month ago they were 9 points clear, possibly could have gone 12, and now they're struggling. They've just gone 3 points ahead, but still a game in hand for City. What is the psychology of winning look like? We know you were part of that team, that Miku team who won the Black Hat Championship in 2015, and we're thinking about as you go through those games, because Black Hat is about 4 or 5 games, and you get closer, you win one, you get into a quarterfinal, semifinal. How much of it starts to think of not so much the game you have to play, but the winning the whole thing? What does that psychology look like as you're going through a knockout competition? Because right now it feels like a knockout competition for Arsenal, because it's like if
Yep,
they lose, they're kind of out of it. So what is
yep.
that psychology like as you go into those hit or miss games?
Yeah, well, you see, for Arsenal, it's a bit different for City because um, Arsenal is still in the 10 Champions League.
Yeah,
So you find the mentality is a bit different because of what they are trying to achieve. Because as much as they want to win the league, they would love to win the Champions League as well. So I feel like it comes down to hunger and experience. And I think that's where City has the edge. Whereas City may not be as hungry because they've won it so many times already, but they have the experience to get cross that line with these few games that are remaining. And I think the Arsenal players, I don't know. I not seeing the hunger in them. When you really want doing something, it
yeah,
shows. Maybe you that's not what you intend to show, but just because that's what you want, it shows. Because for me, when I played Indian Black Hat, um, I actually didn't play the first game because of something that happened at training, and the coach didn't put me on the 18-man squad to play,
uh-huh,
so I was left out. But we won that game 2-0, I think. And from then, because I actually stayed home, I didn't go to watch the game. I didn't nothing. From then, I just had a desire, a hunger that whenever I got the chance to go on the field, that's it. That's
yeah.
it. And you could have seen it every time I stepped on the field as a sub. I was hungry. I didn't care. I was just hungry. So I think the Arsenal players, much as they are fighting on two fronts for two big competitions, it comes down to the hunger of the players. They have to be hungry for it.
Fraka, what do you think it takes to get over that line? Because is it more of them going all out? Like you see Barcelona in the Champions League. Barcelona is a team that they risk it all. They with the high line. Sometimes they don't press as much, so the players on the ball have time to drop it in behind the high line. They risk it all because they're going thinking I'm going to punch first before I get punched. Or you've seen teams like Italy in the 2006 World Cup where so many games won 1-0, 1-0, just a pragmatic approach. What do you think it takes to get over the line? Is it more pragmatic, like we can assume Arsenal is taking, or is it more Barcelona or Liverpool in I think it was 2014 where they were just like outscoring teams even if they were not solid defensively? What do you think it takes to get over that line for them?
Well, honestly, for Arsenal, I think Arsenal problem is they live inside of their own heads too
Mm-hmm.
often. Arsenal's style of football is not built for. I'm actually surprised that Arsenal are seated in the semi-finals of the Champions League, right? Arteta
Yeah.
coaches a certain type of football where you have to manage the game and get over the hump. People would say it's more of like, oh, the injuries or whatever. But if you look at the way that Arsenal play the games in the Premier League versus how they play in the Champions League, it's two different type of football. Arsenal got knocked out of the FA Cup by Southampton because they were not
Hmm.
ruthless. Arsenal has
So
been
do you
struggling to.
think it's do you think it's like they don't have the quality to be ruthless, or it's just a mentality that I score and I sit back in, like what people would accuse like Atletico of doing back in the day? Do you think they just don't
No,
have the quality to be ruthless?
I think that they just don't know how to shift to the other gear where you make the other team know that I'm better than you. They always give
Hmm.
someone a chance to play the game and get a result. If we go
Yep.
back to the
Yep.
last 3, 4 results in the Premier League, Brentford, Wolves, bro, come on.
Yeah,
These are the games where Arsenal let City back into the Premier League race. And I can tell people that this is one of the worst football that I've actually seen a Pep Guardiola team play. And they're still in a champions race with 4 games to go. Arsenal should have
yeah.
been done, killed that Premier League off already.
Long time.
Yeah, but
Long
you
time.
look at
Honestly,
the
like,
you look at the stats, and you see Arsenal have maybe most clean sheets, so one of the best goalkeepers in the league. Yeah, they have some of the better centre backs in the league with Gabriel, and we know about his
but that's
shenanigans and
defensive
dramatics.
stats. They not scoring
But
the goals that they need to put the teams away.
mhm.
If you can remember when Arsenal played City, was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago? I'm not
2 weeks ago, yeah, I was
right.
getting to that. Yeah,
That was one of the better games that I've seen Arteta play against Pep,
yeah,
right? And he still lost the game
hmm,
because why? Again, the mentality of the players. We figure out we can just get over the hump. Arsenal just stop trying to get over the hump and just kill people. Arsenal lost a game to Liverpool first half of the season of a Szoboszlai free kick where they had 10 shots to goal, 8 on target, misfiring. Same thing with the
yeah,
first game of the season where they play against Man United, right? And they were
yeah.
lucky that Saliba didn't get called for that penalty. They don't know how to kill the game off. That's where the experience comes in. They don't know how to win the games that they're supposed to. They look nice,
But
but when it comes to what
but
when
you
the
see them,
expectations
you
get
see
to
them
them,
trying to.
no, they're not trying.
You see them trying to, like, you see the tactics is when they go up they want to be,
After 5 years, it's not
maybe get
trying.
into a
It's a
five in the
struggle.
back. Yeah, so you're saying that the quality they have up front in terms of Gyökeres and Kai Havertz is just not good enough.
Well,
What's your
I
thoughts on Gyökeres and
okay,
Havertz?
Gyökeres, I think he was brought into a team that doesn't have proper service for his style of play. That's my
Hmm.
opinion. I can be wrong, right? Kai Havertz is a man that is a player that they converted into a striker because they had so much of these auxiliary players that like to come in, tuck in, cut, and so Kai Havertz was a fit of scraps, and he would score, he would perform. Now, when you bring in
Yeah,
a striker like Gyökeres that relies on service, and you have Saka that doesn't cross, Martinelli that doesn't go to the byline, Odegaard that doesn't play the through ball, and I'm a striker that thrives off of service. I'm not going to perform to my optimal capacity. I'm not taking it away. It's just like I don't think it's like um wrong hole square pegs. The players are good. The system is trash. That's the best way I
yeah,
can put it for so everyone can understand what I'm trying to say. Because I will never tell
yeah,
you
yeah.
Saka is not a good player, or Martinelli is not a decent footballer, or Odegaard is not okay. These are professional people that know what they're doing, but the system is not facilitating a way for them to say like get the best out of what you have. So I'm gonna
I agree, I agree.
put it to you.
Yeah. I just feel like I haven't really watched Arsenal enough um to be as critical. The few games that I've seen from them, it's just they've just never been like they've never been able to convince me that they will win
Hmm.
anything. Basically, all right. And like Fraka said, you have Gyökeres came to Arsenal as one of the best goal scorers in the last season,
In
and
Europe, yeah,
you watching Gyökeres now, and you wondering how that man playing for Arsenal.
yeah,
So Fraka said the right thing. Round peg, square peg in round holes. It will not work, right? They're just not lethal. They're just not convincing. And anytime you want to go and win games, 1-0, 2-1, you leave room for the days where you will not be having as much of a good game. Teams will kill you off, especially teams that don't have anything to lose. Southampton, these smaller teams don't have nothing to lose. These teams will come and play and lose and not care.
yeah.
So these are the teams you have to go out there and you have to make sure that you're killing off these teams early. Because Madrid, when Jose Mourinho was coaching Madrid, I think it was his second or third year, Madrid were winning games in the first 20 minutes because they were already up
Yeah,
3-4. Lethal,
from
Benzema, Bale,
the
Di
get go.
Maria,
Yeah,
CR7,
Isco.
lethal. These guys didn't want to wait till the 85th. No, first 20 minutes, let's get at them, two, three, four goals, and just chill. Arsenal needs to learn how to do that. When they get to kill games off, especially early, kill the team off. Because the longer you take to kill the team off, the more nervous you get. It's natural. That's just natural. You can have all the experience you want. The longer you have a team 1 not 4, you will start to get nervous in the end because you know any little mistake that team will score and you will lose points. So everybody does that. I've done that. I'm sure Frank has done that. You, Jovel, have done that at
Trust me.
some point.
I was just thinking about the number of times that you play a game against a team you're supposed to beat, and then them man gets
And
like a
boy,
little one, and then you
Yeah,
can't even get a shot on
and that
target after.
frustrating you so much. Yo,
the golden rule in football. Yeah, and
that
Yeah.
frustrating you so.
this is my analysis of Arsenal from what I see because I watch them a lot mostly just because I'm hoping every time I watch them they lose. It's just that even when Arsenal do win a game, they don't have a creative play in, and I think now you a lot of people right now they're talking about Michael Olise, they're talking about Ryan Shirky. People are now starting to talk about Jamal Musiala again because he's back from his injury. These creative players, this is where football is won. And I saw a tweet recently, and it was like Arsenal and City were tied on points, and the goal difference was like +1 to City, and people were like, why is goal difference, as in goals scored, valued
Yeah,
over
goal scored, but
goals less goals conceded? Now it's
Mm.
just like this is what
because
football
goals
is
win
about. It's
games.
much harder to score a goal than it is to keep a as it's much harder for attackers than it is for defenders. Because as a defender, your whole job is to be patient. You're waiting for
People
the
don't
defender attacker
understand.
to make
People will
a
have to
mistake,
understand.
and you react.
Don't look at the shot.
And
I
then
always tell
when you're an
people the
attacker,
hardest thing to do in football. Sorry, Joe. The hardest thing to do in football is score a goal.
yeah,
SP will tell
yeah,
you
Yep.
the hardest thing in football is to score a goal. I just want people to
and not just
hear
for the attackers, but that's what people come to
anybody.
see. It's already it's already a low scoring game. It's not cricket where you score in 200 runs. It's not basketball where you score in 100 points. It's not American football where it's 27 to 30 something. It's 2-1. It's 3-1. It's 1-0.
Bruh.
These goals matter more. And Arsenal for me don't have a creative player that can pick the ball up, go past two or three guys, set up somebody with a through pass or even take on a shot themselves. We look at players that they've been talking about. You look at Declan Rice, and people are talking about Declan Rice is up for Ballon d'Or. When I look at Declan Rice, I don't get a spark to see, oh, I'm waiting. When he gets the ball, I'm excited to see what this guy can do. Oh, I'm not seeing,
Delusional.
even if Eze, Eberiche Eze at Crystal Palace, maybe he get the ball, I can see he go past people, but now he's playing within himself. There's some games you'll see a spark, but it's never consistent. Gyökeres is the same, Kai Havertz the same, Martinelli the same. Like they don't have this
So
player that
so
you
don't you
give him
think
the ball and I'm scared.
that comes down to you don't think that comes down to the coaching? Because if I take a player that likes to express himself, why would I put you in a system that you cannot
Mhm.
express yourself?
Yeah.
You
You
know what I'm
see,
saying? Because
I would say no, because like people accuse Pep Guardiola a lot of stifling players, and then you see a guy like Ryan Shirky come, and Ryan Shirky's flicks and tricks and losing the ball and trying things, and people say, "Oh, Guardiola's always limited players, so why can Shirky do that?" So I don't know if it's necessarily down to the coach or what they do in training. I'm not there, I don't know, but I don't want to say it's Arteta because Arteta's also worked with Pep Guardiola, so he has that information of how he runs his session. So I don't know, but I have I don't know. I wouldn't say it's necessarily 100% down to the coach.
I think it's
okay,
both. It's a mixture of both because you find um when you so the you go out there to do what the coach says. All right. In There will be times where you have to do your own thing because you have your own mind. You won't just keep on doing it. If it's not working, you wouldn't do it. But I think as much as the coach would give you the instruction to do a certain thing, you too have your own mind, and that's why I think we lost these players like Ronaldinho and these types
Yeah.
of creative players because You would send them out on the pitch to do something, and them man, in doing it, they would add their own style
Flair.
to it. Jack Grealish was such a wonderful footballer before
Yeah.
City, and I watched Grealish at City, and every time Jack Grealish get the ball, cut back,
Yeah.
Savini, cut back, cut back. I'm like, what's going on? But I'm sure that's the instruction Pep gave.
Yeah.
Right now with Turkey is a different type of player to Grealish and to Savinho. He is more of a 10. Now, when you're a 10 and you're that creative, you will just go out there and do your own thing. Now, one thing I will
Express
say,
yourself. Yeah.
Turkey, if it wasn't working for him, he would have been benched.
Yeah,
I can
long
guarantee that.
time, long
I can.
time.
It's just because it's working.
It's work. Yeah,
That's why I say That is why I say the the coach won't limit you if he sees it working.
Right.
See part
yeah.
if it's not
Hmm.
working, then he go push you.
Yeah.
You
All right, but
ask.
once or if it's not working, he will ask you to do something else.
Yeah.
But I really feel nothing about Pep. Pep does stifle players.
Yeah.
I get that.
Because even
I think
there
push
there are
that.
some games this season where Shirky has just not been working, and and he's been giving the ball away, and he's not the quickest guy to say he'll get the ball back or anything. He'll hustle, but he's not a defensive destroyer. So
He
it's and that's what Pep has been talking about. When the game, Pep had an interview where he said when the game is 0-0, Shirky comes alive and he's on the ball. As soon as we go up 1-0, 2-0, Shirky is nowhere
is
to be
dead.
seen. We can't get him on the ball. So he's developing. He's a young player, first season at City, but yeah, he for me he's the spark, and every team needs a player like that. Whether
Everything.
it's with tricks and flicks or whether it's like a
Yeah,
Vinicius or Mbappe that'll just run at you and lose the ball and run at you again, get it again, run at you again. You need
Yep.
these players to win games, and you need these players to keep the game alive. But I just wanted to wrap up on the Arsenal City talk, and as we move on, and just look right now, City's final games going into the last bit of the season here is Everton, Brentford, Bournemouth, Palace, and Aston Villa. And then Arsenal set to finish with games against um, Fulham, West Ham, Burnley, and Palace. So as we hear these games here, as we go into that final running, who are we thinking are the favorites going into those final 4 or 5 games?
um,
So
I think it.
I think just because
Okay,
Arsenal. No, go ahead, Frank.
all right. I think I think City has both Palace and Aston Villa, right?
Yeah,
So I think both of these clubs are
yeah,
actually in semi-finals of the two different the lower tier European competitions.
European. Yeah,
So squad
that's a
rotation
good point.
there for these two teams don't have deep squads would come into play for City. I also think that on Arsenal's side, since they have to go up against Atletico Madrid, it's between two games that they like we have players from Arsenal, I think, just coming back from soft tissue injuries. Squad rotation going to come into play. Honestly, if
Yeah.
you ask me, just looking at everything just put everything in front of me, Arsenal should get over the line. Like
Mm-hmm.
they should get over that line just because of who they have to play. But I'm not gonna take anything away from City if they flick the switch because City gonna be playing one game a week, whereas Arsenal has to play two
Yeah.
and two games at high levels. But I still think that
Yeah.
Arsenal should be able to manage the games because if you've been honest, City don't create as many opportunities as they used to before. It's a lot of like, what are we doing? Side to side. We're gonna get one, we're gonna get two, and we're just gonna make sure that they don't score.
Let's give the ball to Shirky and hope Shirky does something.
Yes, that kind of thing. So for me, I still have like the lesser teams to go up against, especially the Fulham and the Burnley, because Fulham not play for nothing.
Mm.
Burnley are already relegated. That leaves them with
Yeah.
Crystal Palace, that have to play a semi-final, right? Now, versus City, City have to go against both Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. Something loud. I think that Villa game is going to be the Achilles heel for either City or Arsenal. But I am picking Arsenal to
Yeah.
win by 3 points.
Interesting.
That's my that's my
I fully believe both teams are going to drop points at some point.
I
Um,
agree.
But
but
who's
I
going to
think
lose though?
Arsenal. I think Arsenal, because of the two fronts that they're on, I think it's going to be a bit more difficult for them. Whereas the teams and top teams, but I think just because they're battling on two fronts and they will
Yeah.
have to rotate that squad, I think that'll be based on how it's done. I think that's what's going to cost Arsenal the league title, and I think City's going to win.
Yeah, I agree. I think we spoke at the beginning about the psychology of winning, and I think Arsenal is really starting to feel the pressure. And then they've also had a big psychological hit because I think in the last few games against City, scored. In the Champions League quarterfinal, second leg, I believe Havertz also scored, and now Havertz is out for the rest of the season. That's a huge psychological hit because they've. For me, from what I'm seeing from Arteta, he's kind of lost that confidence in Gyökeres, but now Havertz is out. He's kind of forced to play him now, and it's just not as fluid. He doesn't press the same. He doesn't, involve and link up players. So I don't see them going through. I do agree with SP that both teams will drop points. I just don't think City are good on their day, but they're not consistent. Arsenal the same, and with the Champions League in between there, I just don't see them getting over the line. So I think City will edge it on probably goal difference or maybe by 1 point or so. But
If it goes down to goal
that's
difference,
my views on it. And
if it goes on the goal difference and we're not gonna Arsenal lost. Arsenal's not gonna win if it
yeah,
goes on the
yeah,
goal difference.
yeah. Because
But what I'm
because
saying,
even
like
and I mean, yes, we
my
had the
issue with
opportunity, last game we played to kind of get some goals in against who was it that we played? I
Burnley,
can't even remember.
Burnley,
um
you play
Burnley,
Burnley and like
and we could have
yeah,
gotten. Yeah, but then I think it was not for lack of trying. And then I saw Arsenal played Newcastle, and then they got a goal, but it's just like you don't
they
see
were
them
lucky.
creating a bunch to say, okay, this is a team that
I
can get
think
three and
it's
four and really
I
take the
think it
goal
was
difference
more
about.
along the lines of let's not mess this weekend up so we can have a chance to actually finish strong for
Yeah.
both teams.
Exactly, exactly. It's more of a they're playing not to lose as opposed to win. But we're going to shift gears here and move from England to Spain and just talk about what the hell is going on with Real Madrid this season.
I had
This is
one
Kylian Mbappe's second
SP.
season now at the Bernabeu. This is Kylian Mbappe's second season at the Bernabeu. They have some unbelievable talent with Jude Bellingham. We know he's kind of been not there for the full season because of his shoulder injury. We've had Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius, Adegule has really come of his own this season. So lots of positive in terms of players kind of coming in, and you're expecting a lot of big performances. But then again, a bad performance this weekend in La Liga, out of the Champions League, which is kind of what they have made their own over the last decade or 15 years or so. Where does it go now for Real Madrid, do you think, SB, in terms of what they're looking for next? Is it going to be another Galactico that they sign? They just signed Trent. Trent hasn't really worked out. He's kind of gotten better over the last month or so because Abeloa has taken a liking to him. But where do we see Real Madrid going? Really nothing to play for the rest of the season, but next year, what are your expectations for Madrid?
Um, Boy, we definitely need a new coach, someone who can manage personalities. Because I think what's happening at Real, some of the players are a bit too influential,
Hmm.
and that's been harmful throughout the season. I heard Vini had a part to play in Xabi Gensak. I don't know how true that is, but if that is true, these players have too much power. And you saw in the era where Jose Mourinho was at Madrid, and then he benched Casillas to play Diego Lopez, is because he had too much influence and it was impacting the team negatively. So I think what they need to do right now is to get someone who is in charge of that dressing room, because right now I don't think Abaloa has it. In terms of personnel, I don't think we. Well, I think for sure we need to sign a striker, striker, not just a striker, because you can't blame Mbappe. You can clearly see he doesn't want to play forward. I mean, he
Yeah.
will make the runs, he will score some goals, but you see it in moments where, and I think Thierry Henry did a segment on that where he was showing Mbappe the ball is on the wing and he's outside the box.
He's never getting into the box. Yeah.
Yeah, he
And
doesn't get
then
into the box.
he drops too deep. Yeah, and that's what a natural striker would do. They would do
Right.
that instinctively. So you need. That's why I think Jude flourished so much when he just came to Madrid because he was getting in the box. He was getting there, and that's how he was able to score these goals. Because your mere presence in the box, be that you not scoring, but you can make space for somebody else. I was so lost when I saw thing Herrera's wanting to cross the ball, and there's nobody in the box.
No one.
There's literally nobody in the box. We ain't going nowhere with that. We cannot go nowhere with that. Mbappe wants to play on the wing. Madrid doesn't want to shift it. So that
So who do you think should be? Do you think they should move Vinny? Because I don't think I've ever seen them play Vinny through the middle like that experiment. So like
I
what do you think
think
is a solution to that?
I think anytime you have Mbappe and Vini on the field, you have two players less,
Wow.
and that's where and yeah, and that's where the so who was saying that to me? So both of them want to be CR7, but nobody wants to be Benzema.
Yeah.
Both of them want to be CR. So nobody don't want to say, let me let you take that on and let me just play a supporting role. Vini came up and made his name playing a supportive role to Benzema.
Yeah.
Now I get why he would want to be, in charge and be on top because he's been there, he's won stuff for them. But at the end of the day, you have to understand you were just as good supporting, maybe even better supporting. Because look now, the onus is on you to lead the team, and you can't lead the team. You cannot lead the team.
Yeah.
So I think we need a striker. We most definitely need a centre back. I do see Alaba staying there past next season. Um, Militao injury prone. I don't know what's going on with Daman. Daman just came from two ACL injuries, and look, I don't know. So we need to find him some thing. We need a creative midfielder.
Yeah.
When I say creative, I mean somebody who knows how to dictate the pace of the game, like a Cruz type of player.
Mm-hmm.
Cruz was not strong, wasn't fast. We all know that, but Cruz could have dictated. Cruz knew when to speed the game up and when to slow it down.
Yeah.
We don't have a player like that. Yeah, we have DMs, we have guys that are athletic, we have goal scorers, but we don't have somebody to dictate the game. We need somebody for that.
Well,
And
it's a World Cup year, so Madrid always goes after people. You saw it in in 2010 they went after Ozil, Kadira, in 2014 James Rodriguez, in
Amen. But
in
but you know
last
what?
World Cup I think it was Chouameni they went after.
You know, uh, last season, no, for the past few seasons, I have been praising Perez so much because he stopped going for who he wanted and he
Hmm.
started to sign who we needed, right? And
Yeah.
then I don't know if it was his ego that was bruised when we didn't sign Mbappe that first time, but I kept saying we do not need Mbappe. After Benzema and Roselu left,
Yeah.
kept saying we need to sign a striker. And the,
Yeah.
the worst thing about it is, right, we were offered Harry Kane for £40 million.
Yeah.
Before he went to
So
Bayern, and we never took the deal.
So I'll interject here and I'll bring Fraka in because Fraka, we were just talking before we started here about the how much you into NFL and American football, and this last weekend we had the draft there in Pittsburgh, and a lot of people were saying like the thought process when it goes to drafting players in terms of, well, you have players that you might need um in certain positions, but will you pass up on a player that's the best in his position even if you don't need that position? That's kind of the thing I want to ask you about is in a case like a player like Mbappe, we all know that Mbappe is a world class player. On his day, he could be one of the best players in the world. We saw it at the top level twice. We saw it in 2018 at the World Cup. We saw it in 2022 at the World Cup final. This is a player who has been proven in the Champions League in for his country. Would it be wise if Madrid had an opportunity to sign him to say no to it just because maybe that isn't a player they needed, but also it's a player that is proven as a fantastically talented player. Where do you stand on that? Like, if you have the opportunity to sign a talented player, you sign him regardless of if you need him or not.
I even forgot that Madrid had a failed saga in signing Mbappe. I forgot that part.
So yeah,
So
like 2 summers or 3 summers, I
yeah,
think.
I
Yep.
forgot that part. If they had gotten Mbappe in that time, it would have been a much smoother and more successful transition sitting here today. But
I doubt.
given
Mm,
given
I
what
disagree
has
with
happened, no, given what has happened across Madrid and the way that they lost their players. Because you lost CR, you lost Benzema, your balance, you lost Cruz, you lost
Mhm.
Modric, your balance has gone. Because if you tell me you put in Mbappe with Cruz, Modric in your midfield, then you have something going for you. But when this is my second season. When you take players that occupy the same space on a field and you ask them to figure it out on their own
Mm.
without a proper coach and proper tactical awareness, you're looking for trouble. Because Vini and Mbappe basically occupies that
Yeah.
same left-handed pocket with neither tracking back. So that, like SB says, you're playing down too. People are going to understand that. Only someone who has played a
Yeah.
game will tell you, bro, we're playing down too. Because when we don't have the ball, you asking everybody else to do the work and nobody else coming to help. I'm going to go back to the Bayern versus
Yeah.
Madrid game
But
that everybody was praising the guys for. Bro, that was one of the worst
mhm.
tactical games you could ever see from a Real Madrid team because they basically told Vini and Mbappe, hey, listen, we're going to defend if everybody else, the two of you, one stay left side, one stay right side. We're gonna clear the ball, get it, and figure it out. Football you play so again, Papa.
Yeah.
That is back then kind of football. You have a man that
So,
fast, you tell
but
him stay on your lane.
my rebuttal to that is if you look back to the Spanish team that basically conquered the world and conquered Europe in winning the Euros in 2008, World Cup 2010, and Euros again in 2012. This team is a team that was oversaturated with midfielders to the point where yes, in 2008 they had Fernando Torres up top, but there was a
And
point where they were playing
what he
Cesc
plays
Fabregas,
set
who
up,
was a midfielder as a
yes.
striker. They had you had Xabi Alonso, Busquets, Xavi,
I know,
Iniesta, David
yes.
Silva, Cesc Fabregas. Who else they had in it? All these players who are midfielders found a way to complement each other, and it never felt like they were crowding each other out. It never felt like this one was in this space. And
You
both
know what you're
both
forgetting?
Busquets and Xabi Alonso would like to be receiving the
You know
ball
what
from center backs.
you
Both
know what you're
so why
forgetting?
why could it have worked with that Spain team and not with
You know
what's
what you're
that?
forgetting? An entire midfield played at Barcelona without except Xabi Alonso, who could have played
Hmm.
with anybody that had one eye. The ball never left the Spanish team. They always had the ball. They were never chasing. They had a one game against, I think was it Germany, where they had to really, really fight to actually get an opportunity. And then they bring Torres in and Torres scored the goal, right?
Mm.
That's a final, right? Where they were struggling against I think it was Germany to create chances.
Yeah.
You know what it was? They
Go ahead, Gonzo.
yeah. So with that Spain team, it worked. It worked because all of these players were used to playing a certain
Yes.
system, and that
And
system worked for them. So
Mm.
that's why it was easy for them to play all these midfielders and still make it work because their strength was never speed or brute strength. Their
they
strength
control the
was
game.
keeping the ball.
Yeah.
Control the game.
With the quality of all the midfielders they have, it was easy for them. And then now you find the coach as well, brilliant coach, and
Del Bosque.
he realized what their strength was, and he used it to their advantage. So that's why it looks so easy for them, and
That
that's
was
why he
Del
was
Bosque,
able to
right?
not even play with a striker because he knew,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, Del Bosque,
That's my
yeah.
goat.
So it
That's
worked
my
for
goat.
them, and these guys would play in the Clasico and want to kill each other. But when they get on the field for Spain, they're making it work.
One mind.
They're making
Yeah.
it work. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It really did work because
But so
when
my next question to that would be: this is now Mbappe's and Vini's second year together, and yes, you have a little maybe there's, I don't know, a language barrier or it takes some
no
time, but it's
man,
now two
that
years in and they still haven't seemed
one
to
has to
solve that
go.
problem
One
of
has to go.
no
They can't
coach
that's not gonna
or
work.
any coach, but any good coach wants his best players on the pitch. Any good coach. That's why even when Trent at Liverpool was not the best defensively, we know the quality of on his ball. Coaches are trying their best. They try to put him in midfield. They try to have, even now you have Valverde doing so much defensive work because they want to keep Trent. Coaches want their best players on the pitch. So it's no coach in their right mind is keeping one of them off the pitch. So how can that be solved, or what's the solution to have, because both of them have to play, you know
That's
I
so
why
don't
you
go for
what
see that's there's
I don't
there's only one. To that. Well, two, there's two. Mm-hmm. Go ahead,
Let me
brother.
tell you, one have to go. As long as Madrid keep both Vini and Mbappe, that problem not going to change unless one of them has an ego check. Because one of them have to make a sacrifice for the team. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
see which one is willing to do that as yet. That is my opinion. Because Mbappe wants to be the
You
guy.
see, with so yeah, that that whole Vinian thing situation is so it can work two ways. Either Vini or Mbappe has to say, "Hey, you take the mantle, I'll support."
Yeah.
The Mbappe has to make up his mind if he wants to play forward or not. If he doesn't want to play forward, then it makes no sense. There will always be an imbalance because one side of the field will always be um, overloaded. Now, to your point where you said which coach wouldn't want his best players on the field,
Mm-hmm.
that's true. But would you want the best of the players on the field at the cost of your team being imbalanced and not performing to its optimal level? So that's where you find the Jose Mourinho's. They have the balls to come in and say, "Hey, yeah, one will have to go, or one will have to sit. If you're not making it work, one will have to sit." That's why when we signed Ozil was one of the best playmakers in the world, the best at the time.
Yeah.
But Jose Mourinho said he's not running, so I'm not playing him. He needs to run. So you have certain coaches that have the power to do that, and the others, like you said, they just have to play their best players. I can never forget when we had Rafa Benitez,
Benitez.
and we had to play a Clasico. Bill Benzema and James had just come back from injury, and Rafa wasn't going to play them. And Perez stepped in and said, "Play. I buy them in for nothing. Play my best players."
And then he
We did
fire Rafa
four.
Yeah.
after that. And he fire
We did
Rafa
four.
after
Wow.
that.
Right.
So listen, Mourinho coming back.
That's why teams like knows what I'm saying. That's why teams like Madrid that demand so much
Mm-hmm.
need people in that position to make these types of decisions.
Sure, for sure.
It cannot be you the coach and you there with the team every day, coaching them, seeing their strengths, weaknesses, and you have a president come in and say, "Well, hey, play my
That one
players."
have to
No.
play.
So you
Yeah.
need a coach that should be able to tell them thing, "Hey, press the whole on there. That is my team. Let me handle my team how I want." Abalowa can do that.
Yeah.
Only Mourinho
But
doing
but
that.
how
They
many
have nobody that can do
coaches
that.
right now who are available who can do that?
Only Mourinho. I don't care
Ah,
nobody say.
Jose can do it. I think Klopp can do it as well. I think Klopp can do it as well. Ancelotti could have done it, but I mean, yeah, there again.
Brazil, yeah,
Um,
Brazil.
I don't know if Klopp wants to to coach football
Yeah,
again.
yeah, that too. Because it's so clear to see the imbalance with Real. Not that it's Vini's fault or Mbappe's fault. Vini wants to play
Mm,
there, and we have who wouldn't want to play a fully fit Mbappe? I mean, come on.
mm.
So it's not their
But
fault. It's just that right
the
player,
thing about
wrong
it is
timing.
they
So
fired
this
Xabi
is my
Alonso
thing,
because
right?
they're trying to look for the balance.
Yeah.
They really did fire Xabi
But
Alonso because he was
the thing
looking
is for
for
me, right?
balance.
When I think of football, when I think of football and like how I want to analyze teams, right? I always look at a game where they won and they won handsomely. So you're talking about 3-0, 3-1, and a game where they lost. Now when you look the games against Man City, they played both of them. Both of them were equally destructive. They scored goals. They were playing well against us. For me, that should be the case study if you're a new coach coming in to be like, okay, this worked against Man City, good opposition. Let me see why it worked. What kind of positions were they picking up? What kind of ways? How were they in a transition? What kind of spots were they picking up so that they could play off each other? How close were they to each other? How many passes did they play to each other, leading to attempts at goal? That kind of thing, because it has worked. It's there are some games where it's frustrating, but it has worked, and not just against Getafe. No disrespect to Getafe, but it has worked against Man City. There have been games where they've played and they've played well against top opposition. So I don't know if it's an impossible task, but I just don't see any of them leaving. I know there was rumors against about Vini leaving, but I think both these players want to be Real Madrid players because they see themselves as some of the best in the world, and Real Madrid is where you at when you the best in the world. So
Yep, yep.
they have to find a way. And Perez, like Perez said, he didn't buy these players for nothing. He needs to play
Yeah,
them.
you
He
have to play
paying
them.
them a lot of money, you know.
Yeah.
So
So
they have to
you
pay
never
them.
wa-
They have to play
you
them.
never wake up you never wake
Background
up in
better?
a mood
Background better?
Yeah, much better. Yeah,
you never wake up in the mood to play a game. Like you wake up in the mood
yeah.
and you play you're gonna say so SC playing now for Uptown.
Like you
And when you gonna
motivated, you know.
you wake up and you know, as I know that man them you know, but today I go make them better. The footballers happen like that, you know.
Yeah,
The player, all of us are human. When SP wake up and he say you know you're gonna play against say Platinum, you want to make sure that he's the best player on the pitch. And sometimes that translates to the rest of your
yeah,
players, and then you all get a result where you're not supposed to. It happens.
yeah,
Real Madrid versus Man City,
yeah.
I
So
never take that game too seriously. Guess I'll tell you why. I will tell you why. Now, don't get me wrong. Man City does not have what it takes to go to toe with Real Madrid over two legs. But you put them in
over
a
two
final,
legs, yeah.
Pep might get that one. The psychological effect
Mm.
on certain players. Vinny hits Man City. Everything. If you want the best out of Vinny, put him against Man City.
That's motivation. That's motivation
No,
for
I
you.
say you
Yeah.
can watch
I
it.
mean, once you're coming up against the best,
The boy just know how to show up against Man. Bro, I don't know what is it. Man City and Liverpool. I say that man murder Liverpool already too. Same way.
yeah, I feel like once you know you playing against the best, you always have that extra motivation, and
Yeah,
is not that you want to be the best, but you just want to show up.
You
You
want
want
to
to be
show
there
up.
because for me
You
that's I once I talk about you the best, they the best, he's the best. Hey, you I want to
yeah,
play
you
against.
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
you
exactly.
You I want to play against.
we about to get
Yeah,
we
so
about to
yeah,
get into it.
the extra
Exactly. We
motivation,
know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we about to get into it. So you know you the boss. We about to get into it.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
So
yeah.
I
yep.
don't
So
think it's a thing
so
where go
want
ahead,
to
Joe.
switch just was I'll let you finish, but I was just going to switch gears. And as we get like we're talking about these players and wanting to be the best, and we're talking about the best club competition in the world is the Champions League. And this week we start with the first legs. So we have Arsenal versus Atletico, and Bayern versus PSG. What are you guys looking forward to in these games, and what do you expect to be the result of the first leg or even the tie overall?
You want to go first, Braga?
Let me go. I'll go Tayo.
Um, I think the Arsenal versus Atletico match will be a weird one because of Atletico's form. I don't know what's going on with them, man. But them man in a slump in the league. Them man just been losing games, not by but by a lot of goals.
Yeah,
So I don't know what's going on with them, man. But I with Arsenal too. Like I said, they haven't been very convincing to me. Well, from what I've seen of them. So I don't even know. I feel like I can go either way. I think Atletico might just get the edge for the first leg, but I think it'll all come down to the second leg. For the Bayern versus PSG game, I'm really looking forward to that one because I think right now these are the two best teams in the world. Um, and I think they are all of the players in form. They have no injuries, and that'll just be a good game for the neutral because you get to see two teams that can hold the ball and two
yeah,
teams that can attack and score goals. And yeah, man. Honestly, I think PSG will edge Bayern. I think just because of the firepower PSG have up
yeah.
front and the midfield is working with Vitinha, with João Neves, Fabian Ruiz, I think they have a well balanced squad and they know how to keep the ball, they know how to defend, and they know how to score some goals. So I expect PSG to go through after both legs. First leg, I know I kind of looking at a tie, a high scoring tie, maybe like 2 or 3 all. Yeah.
Okay. But what say you, Fraka?
I'll tackle the PSG by first. Like SP said, I think these are the two best teams in the world right now, club, honestly. Balance wise, PSG, like the midfield, like it just the complementary factor of the players, like it just works well. And the explosiveness of both wingers and the fluidity of the attack when it comes to who pops up in the middle might cause by a lot of trouble, especially when you have Ta and Upper Maguire as your centre backs. I really feel, but honestly, Bayern can get it done, but it has to be a perfect. it has to actually be a clinical game over two legs for Bayern to get it done. I agree with SP that PSG gets through to the final for just sheer quality. Like it's bro, that team is class. Like I don't know. Like Luis Enrique has done an amazing job of getting these players to complement each other and play amazing football. They can be dormant for 65 minutes and
Yep.
kill you in 25. That's what you need for knockout football, and I
Yeah.
think they have mastered that, and that's okay. In the second tie, where we have Atletico Madrid and Arsenal, bro, I don't know. I think it's gonna be the first leg gonna be KG, and the second leg
Merci.
I think somebody gonna try to win in the second leg. The first leg I don't care where it's played, because
Yeah.
both of them need it, so they will not try to lose it in the first game.
Yeah.
They will try to keep it
The
as
first leg
tight
is
as possible.
at the Metropolitan now.
So, oh yeah, that game is gonna be definitely like 1-1 or 0-0.
Yeah, that one
We're
I
gonna be back here talking about that 1-1. I don't speak, especially since like Arsenal probably gonna be looking at that game on, I think they play Saturday or Sunday. I think one of these days they play Saturday or Sunday, where they can go 6 points clear of Man City. So they will try not to lose against Atletico and try to win it at home. Versus if Atletico Madrid decide to throw like a monkey wrench into the plan and somehow play solo Alvarez Griezmann from the start and have Arsenal try to chase them down the field with Koke and somebody anchoring with Simeone or Lookman trying to just, if Simeone decide he want to actually like throw like a wild card in there and make the game crazy, then he go and give Arsenal something to worry about. But both of these coaches are very, very reserved. They do not like to lose first legs, and they like the second leg to be frenetic.
Yeah.
So I don't think, like as you said, we'll see you after the
Yeah.
second leg.
I think you see for the Madrid Bayern game, I do have not Madrid, sorry, the PSG Bayern.
Yeah,
I so used to Madrid being in the semifinals. The PSG Bayern game. I do think PSG will I do think PSG will edge it, not PSG. I do think Bayern will edge it because for me, you see Champions Leagues can you need a good goalkeeper. And I think the last game that Manuel Neuer played was very, very poor. He let Madrid back into the game. But we saw the first leg, what he's capable of. And we've also seen how many times Thibaut Courtois has saved Madrid through all their Champions League wins. Because even when you playing at your best, there will be a time in a game where the opposition, especially when you get to a semi-final, all the teams in their quality, where opposition will force your goalkeeper into a save, and then you letting that goal in just deflates the whole team and just goes against the grade of what's going in throughout the rest of the game. And I think when it comes to goalkeepers, I don't think PSG has any special goalkeeper, and I know that they will get opportunities. Lise will create things, Musiala will create things. They will be going at goal. You cannot keep Harry Kane quiet. Harry Kane will be shooting. So I don't think that they have a goalkeeper to stop them. Now, if Neuer on his day, Neuer can frustrate Dembele. Dembele, we know, notoriously has fluffed his lines in big, big games in the World Cup final, in the quarterfinal for Barcelona, even this season against Liverpool, we see his finishing has been suspect. So we know that yes, he was the best player in the world according to the Ballon d'Or people last year, but he's not a clinical striker by any stretch of the imagination. Even Kvaratskhelia, yes, he's having a good Champions League season, but look at the numbers. He's not a goal scoring winger to say he's going to have tons of goals. So I don't see PSG getting it done. Not because they don't have quality and they'll not create. I just think that if Neuer is there on his day, I don't think they get past Neuer. Even with Upamecano and Tak having mistakes, I still think they'll go. In terms of Arsenal and Atletico, I think other people have, the notion that Atletico is a very defensive team. But I watched them against Barcelona over the two legs, and I watched them before that. Who did they play in the quarterfinals? I can't remember, but I remember Atletico not being anything close to a defensive unit. Atletico going out and Atletico being aggressive. You have the Julian Alvarez has changed their whole approach. Ademelo Lukman has changed their whole approach of how they attack. These are attacking players who want to go forward, who want to get on the ball. They work defensively, obviously, that's in Simeone's culture, but this is not a team that sits back. This is a team that go on, especially the first leg at home. I know they wish they would have gotten the second leg at home, but I think they'll go hard before they go back to the Emirates because they know it's not going to be easy for them away from home in that second leg. So I have Atletico winning the first leg maybe 2-0 and then drawing the second leg at the Emirates 1-1. and going through. So I have the final between Atletico and Bayern, and Bayern going all the way.
Bayern. Okay.
I mean,
Fez.
I
Fez.
respect
The
that.
last thing I'll ask you guys here, I'll ask you guys here, as we come upon an hour, is just that. So, in the last month or so, we've seen so many injuries in European football as we lead up to another World Cup year. So these players came straight from a Club World Cup last summer into their season, full of international breaks where you had World Cup qualifiers that they had to be traveling for, and then straight into another World Cup year with a Champions League format that increased the amount of games that they play in. And then you have, so far we've seen injuries to, like we spoke before, Militao, Adegule, Bellingham was out for a few. We've seen Javi Siemens out for the World Cup. We've seen Ekitike out for the World Cup. As a consumer, we love this game. We watch the game. We enjoy being entertained by this game. Do we think it's gotten to a point now where it's just too much football that the players, one, just cannot keep up, and the product we're seeing, because we're all complaining that football now is different from football before. Is that because simply the players are just tired and they're all playing with some niggling injuries? Is it too much football now?
No, I don't think that's what it is. These players are well taken care of. These players have state of the art medical care. These players know what is going to happen before it happens in terms of games, so they are always prepared for it. And these players get the best. These players are well taken care of. So I think injuries are just like accidents. I mean, you won't know when a player will get injured before it happens. So I don't think it's too many games. I just think it's just injuries. Injuries will be injuries. No matter how many games you play, injuries will be injuries because there are players that play for the whole season. CR did it for years and CR barely got an injury because he took care of himself. So I think it's more you taking care of your body rather than you have so many games per season to play. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have two. So I agree with SP because I think that um you're a pro, you're paid to play a game at the highest level. You know what you're getting into, so the onus is on yourself to take care of your body. Injuries do occur. A lot of you will never escape the injury aspect of a sport. That's something that has happened.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is that in this new modern era of football where we have so many games being included, especially like right now with the World Cup, and as you said, why I'm gonna spit out. If if Brazil already qualified for the World Cup and there is an international break where we are playing two friendlies against Japan and Uzbekistan, why is Militao and Vini in the 23 or the 18 for two friendlies that and then Militao out for the
Yeah.
year, Vini gets a broken leg and they go on till next year. This is where we use the opportunity to see somebody that can make the 25-man squad, give him an extra run out for 60, 75 minutes rather than playing our big guns that can be getting rest, recuperating from the little soft tissue injury. Just I just think like
Yeah.
they forget the human aspect of the game because if I know for a fact
Yeah.
I'm
Agreed.
taking SP to the World Cup, or we are already secured a spot to the World Cup, why am I taking SP from Brazil all the way to Australia to play a game that he doesn't need to play? And then I'm sending him back to go and compete for Real Madrid against for a Champions League, La Liga title where he has to exert so much more energy, and then he doesn't even make it to the World Cup squad. The decision makers need to make the better decisions.
Yeah.
Players need to do their part, but we will never, ever, ever escape the injury aspect of sport. It happens. A lot of us has succumbed to it. I got bad hamstrings when I was 25. I am currently 40 years old. I still dealing with a left hamstring that comes and goes. That is just thing. There's something that will just stick with you, but we have to take care of our body in order for us to do what we gotta do. So the it's true,
Yeah.
the scheduling is bad. It's horrible. The scheduling is horrible.
Yeah.
But especially when they include Nations League. I have nothing against Nations League, but there's no reason why the European teams need a Nations League. Nations League is for people like CONCACAF
Yeah.
and these areas to seed the teams and to sift it out, get a proper hierarchy so we know who and what is going on our level. That's a lot of extra football. a
Yeah.
lot of extra football. Like I think like it's about extra 8 games for like the European clubs
So
on a calendar that's
I'll
already packed with
I'll give you this
38.
stat, right? Because I'm the yeah. I'll give you this stat because I'm the stat guy when it comes to our podcast right now. Cristiano Ronaldo, the most guess if you can guess the most amount of games that Ronaldo played in a single season throughout his career so far. How many do you think that is?
Ronaldo,
Well, I know the league is foot. The
38.
league is foot. Like in a season or a year.
In
Yeah,
a
a season or a
season. So
year.
from August till like it ends in May. Some years
Season.
go.
Okay.
May. Uh,
I'll say 39 plus the Champions League would be six for the group stage. Semi
that's
is
two. That's 12.
finals, so that's another 6 games, so that's like 12 plus 40, 52 if you add
Copa
the
del
Copa
Rey,
del Rey. I'd say about like maybe another six, so you're like 60. If it's a
80,
World Cup or a Euro year, that's
84.
another. So I'd say maybe like about between 62 and 70 games for the season,
So the most
probably.
is played. This is a quick Google search, so it takes this with a grain of salt. But I was trying to prove a point. Is the most is played is 60 during the 2011-2012 season. So that's the most he's played, 60 games. Because even if the league has 48 games for him to play, he won't play in every single game. There are games he's injured,
Yeah,
there's
you
games
would,
he's
you won't.
rested,
Yeah.
etc., etc. This year so far, because remember Real Madrid also played in the Club World Cup last year. Mbappe has already played 64 games this season.
But he didn't
Wow.
even play the, he didn't
So he
even
still
play the,
has he
he
still
didn't
has
start
games
the
in La
Club World
Liga to
Cup.
finish up, and
He didn't even
Yeah,
start in the Club
and
World
the
Cup.
World
He
Cup.
joined. He
You know
yeah,
joined
what it
up
is?
with Real
I
Madrid.
he joined them. Yeah,
yeah, I don't think the games are too much in relation to injuries. I just think they're too much because they're just unnecessary.
yeah,
There
yeah.
you
A lot
go.
of
There's
unnecessary games. Because you
that's
see,
the
for
word. A
me,
lot of
I I do think that there are so many there are ways to predict injuries. There's so much technology now where players have the trackers where you can tell how much load they've put on their legs over the last week, and what we can reasonably predict is the threshold for, okay, if you push beyond this amount of load in this amount of days, you're more suspect to injuries. And obviously people's bodies are different. There are players who they just born and they're able to run a lot more without feeling tired than other players. So yes, it does have a certain level of nuance to it, to be like, okay, you can take a little more load. Some players, they can really do one game a week, or maybe they're playing for injury, so you have to manage it. But I do think it's coming to a point where even the World Cup is now expanded. So there's so many games because we want to see this beautiful product of players playing the beautiful game. But it's coming to a point where we just putting a lot of unnecessary games in there, a lot of unnecessary games, and I think it's going to hurt the product in the long run.
I think it's just
Yep,
more. I think it's just
Yeah.
more
definitely
like,
agree.
So, but
especially on the international stage, there are a lot of unnecessary games. That's
yeah, yeah,
my
100%
opinion. The
agree. Well,
international stage has
we
too
do it.
many
I did
unnecessary
want to get
games.
into some of the I did want to get into some of the managerial sagas going on in the Premier League, but I think we've gotten to about an hour here, and I think we've talked
Oh,
about
an
a
hour and five
majority
Yeah.
of
minutes,
the
I
stuff
think.
that we needed to talk about, especially looking forward to the Champions League coming up this week, and the title race in the Premier League. So I'm happy to call it here for tonight, fellas, and then we can resume after maybe the first leg or the second leg of the Champions League as we look into the final
I
and
think
some more World Cup
actually we should
talk.
come back
But
after the second leg.
that'll be it for tonight. Yeah, we can come back after the
I think we
second
should
leg
come
and
back
see
after
how
the
it played
second leg
out, and
because
then like some talk for the final.
not only
Yeah,
that, the City and Arsenal would have played another 2 games also, so they would probably be on like a we
yeah,
have
yeah.
a
So we have a
better,
better
a
idea
clearer
of where
view.
the league is going.
Yep, definitely agree.
All right, fellas. Well,
Definitely
we'll
agree.
call it here for tonight. So, to all the listeners, thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. Please feel free to leave some comments on YouTube here, and reach out and let us know what you want to hear us discuss. We appreciate the viewership and the listen. So thank you so much again. I look forward to another episode soon. Like we said, after the Champions League final second legs are done, so we'll have a little bit of a discussion about that as well. So thank you everybody, and good night.